Hey travelers, Mag and I here on day 189 of our trip around the United States. Today's forecast calls for rain, and wouldn't you know it, we have plenty of that to go around. Aichan has not been happy about this situation since we woke up, but it is what it is. As you know, this geocaching adventure will continue, rain or shine. This morning, we're starting things off here on the edge of Huntsville at the Sam Houston statue. This is the world's largest statue of an American hero. What better way to start off any geocaching day than a world's largest, am I right? Today is kind of a cleanup day. We have 250 miles to cover out of Huntsville, but for the most part, we are going to be treading ground that we've already been through before. So there are not a lot of targets on our agenda. It's mostly just to get us from here to Houston and clean up the last 5 counties that we need on the route between here and there. From here in Huntsville, we're going to be making our way east toward Bowmont, and from Bowmont, we're going to circle back around and finish our day up in Houston. I'm pretty excited to be going back into Houston because tomorrow morning we'll be attending an event there and then a CETO event right after that. So it should be a pretty good day. I think today is going to be a pretty short day given how many miles we have to cover, how few targets we have, and with a little bit of luck, it'll dry out some and we'll have better conditions. Only one way to find out. Let's get out there and hit the trail. Come on, let's go.
Dedicated to the city of Huntsville on October 2nd of 1994, this tribute to an American hero stands at 67 feet tall on a 10-foot sunset granite base. So who exactly is Samuel Houston? He was an American general and statesman who lived between 1793 and 1863 and played a vital role in the Texas Revolution. He also served as the first and third president of the Republic of Texas and was one of the first 2 individuals to represent Texas in the United States Senate. As if that wasn't already enough, he also served as the 6th governor of Tennessee and the 7th governor of Texas, and is the only individual to be elected governor of 2 different states in the U.S. His legend certainly stuck with us through the entire morning of geocaching our way across the counties.
Me mom says I have a bit of a weird thing for lizards, and she may be right. But they're just so darn cute. Look at them go. Bye, little guy. See you later.
As you can see, we tracked down quite a few multis along our route, but that wasn't the only thing we located. Every now and then, we came across a regular-sized container or even larger. Anytime I come across a container large enough, it's always worth a look through to see what kind of swag or travel bugs might be contained with inside. Ironically, this is the one that took me longest to find today, hidden underneath all the pine straw. And wouldn't you know it, it's the biggest one of the day too.
Oh, that is a big boy right there. Let's see what we got going on in this beast.
Having recently been maintained by the owner, this one is as fresh as it can be, with lots of swag bagged up and everything in great shape. Also, quite a few pins available to sign the log. By the early afternoon, we had completed all of our county targets for the day, making our way into Bowmont, the county seat of Jefferson County. We had only decided to stop into town to visit a couple of virtuals and an earth cache, but of course, while we were here, we checked out the sights as well. When Aichan saw the giant fire hydrant outside the Fire Museum of Texas, she practically begged me to stop. She also kindly requested that I don't talk about what happened next. The entire downtown area along the riverfront is loaded with museums. Not only is there the Texas Energy Museum, which is where we actually stopped in for the virtual, but there's the Edison Museum just down the street and the Art Museum of Southeast Texas. While we weren't here to tour any individual museum, we certainly couldn't resist the opportunity to take a look at all of the artworks on display outside of each building. It certainly looks like a place that would be worth a more in-depth visit though. As I understand it, this art museum offers the area's most esteemed artwork, interactive features, and tons of family-friendly experiences. Once we finished up our tour of the downtown area, we made our way south to the edge of the city in Spindletop Park. This park represents not only a vital piece of history to Beaumont and Texas, but also to the United States in general. On January 10th of 1901, a well at Spindletop struck oil. The gusher blew for 9 days at a rate of about 100,000 barrels of oil per day. Because of the sheer quantity found here, mass consumption became immediately available almost overnight, ushering in the oil age. Located directly to the west of the historic site, you'll find Tyrrell Park, a 1,500-acre green space donated in the early 1900s by oil tycoon Captain Tyrrell. The virtual here is focused on the September 11, 2001 Memorial Garden, which was dedicated on June 22, 2002, the 9th month and 11th day after the devastating event. This memorial is in remembrance and in honor of all the people affected by that devastating attack on the U.S. The twin granite towers represent the World Trade Center, while the other granite towers are in memory of the lives lost on American soil and on flights number 11 and 77.
All right, let's talk footwear for just a moment here. Before this trip started, I went shopping to ensure that I had the right footwear for this adventure that we're on. I bought boots that are insulated so that my feet can stay warm during the winter, and they're waterproofed so that they can stay dry under wet conditions. And these boots have held up very well to the conditions I've put them through over the last 6 months. But nothing lasts forever. Even as well as these boots have done, I have had to switch them out at one point. If you remember, back in Indiana, we went for the turkey run stash, and Aichan and I waded up the trails through 1 foot to 2 feet with the water. Now these boots may be waterproof, but that doesn't include when you're wading through water that high. Obviously they came in over the top, the boots were completely soaked on the inside, and I had to wear my alternate boots for a day. That's the only time I've had those out. But now, these things have hit their limit. If you look closely at the material here, big gaps on the inside of the material here, all right? They've also got wearing through the material in lots of places. The other boots, pretty much the same thing right here. Material's coming apart. You can see where the material is falling apart. That's not to say that these boots haven't done a good job. We have gone through some really rough conditions in the last 6 months, and to be honest, I'm surprised they have held up as well as they have. But now, that water resistance, that's out the window. Today, walking around and through all these puddles, even trying to step lightly, my socks have basically been sponges inside of these boots. As soon as I get within ½ an inch of water, right in there. So my feet have been cold and wet since the morning started, and they haven't dried out since. That says to me, it's time to retire these old boys. So, starting tomorrow, you'll be seeing me wearing my alternate pair of boots from here on out. Good job, guys. You did good while it lasted.
Just across the parking lot from the September 11th Memorial, right in front of the Golden Triangle Audubon Society building, you can take a walk through the Beaumont Botanical Gardens. This is a beautiful spot that is definitely worth taking the time to walk through if you find yourself in the Bowmont area. The Botanical Gardens offer the opportunity for a walk through a 23-acre garden of ever-changing beauty. The paved walkways connect several themed gardens, filled with a variety of flora, including antique roses and many native plants to the area. This is also home to the Burton Jack Spink Horticultural Center and the Warren Luce Conservatory, the second largest conservatory in a public garden within Texas. These impressive gardens can trace their origins all the way back to April of 1951, when the Beaumont Council of Garden Clubs was originally formed. The creation of a public garden was the major goal of the organization, and in 1968 they were finally able to see it come to fruition when the city of Beaumont set aside 10 acres for the land at Tyrrell Park. The first building opened its doors to the public in 1971, and they immediately began drawing up plans for expansion. Obviously, it has grown quite a bit over time, transforming into the beautiful gardens you see today. By the time we were able to make our way from Beaumont to the Houston area, the sun was already beginning to set down. We shot into Alvin, which is located just a little south of the city. Here we enjoyed a couple of virtuals as we enjoyed a sunset over the landscape, happy to finally have found a Veterans Memorial for the day, and not a moment too soon.
All right, travelers, it looks like that is going to do it for the rest of our sunlight for today. But wouldn't you know it? We made it. We completed our entire target list for the day, all 5 counties, and managed to make it just south of the Houston area with a little extra time to spare. We even managed to get through a few of the targets we have on the list for tomorrow, including a couple of the challenges and a couple of the virtuals, this one included. Right now, we're shooting from Alvin at the National Oak Park, and that's a big boy behind me, isn't it? I'm so glad that we were able to make it here with enough daylight to see this thing. Tomorrow, we're going to be spending all day long in Houston. We're going to start things off with an event, move on to Aceto, and then head on into the downtown Houston area, and we'll be chasing those virtuals all day long. We don't actually need to be in the Houston area. Like Dallas, we've flown in and out of that airport a great many times and done a lot of the targets we wanted to do in the city, with the exception of the virtuals in the downtown area, because they've always been relatively difficult to get to. But tomorrow being a weekend, I think we're going to have a pretty good shot at this thing. Thank you for joining us. Like this video, subscribe to stay tuned for daily updates, and we'll see you out on the trails.